Hi Wichita students, my name is Zerrin Oelze. I teach science at McLean Science and Technology Elementary Magnet here in town. And today we're going to do just a simple science experiment that you can do at home. I think you will have most of these supplies. I have a big tub of water, but I bet you probably have a bathtub at your house, so you can do this in the bathtub. If not, if you have a bucket, you could do it outside. And then you need some tin foil. And what we're going to do is I'm going to first tell you a story. When I was a little girl, I grew up in the state of Michigan. And Michigan has a great, big, beautiful lake, a great lake that looks like the ocean. And in the summer, my family would go to the lake. Now this lake, you can't see across it. It is humongous. And they have huge ships that cross the lake that take supplies from Michigan over to Wisconsin. And if you've ever seen a giant ship like a cruise ship, if you can picture that in your head, that's the type of ship it was. But these ships in Michigan were built over 100 years ago to carry something more than just people. They were built to carry trains. So if you can imagine an entire train going inside of a ship and that ship taking the train across to the next state. I thought, my goodness, how can something as heavy as a train with many train cars be carried by a ship across the water and not sink? When I was 5 years old, I got to ride on that ship, and by then they didn't carry the trains as much, but they took big semi-trucks, and my parents got to drive our car into the ship and park it underneath the ship, and then we would go stand on top of the ship and look over the lake. But lots and lots of people brought their cars onto the ship so that when they got over to Wisconsin they would have a vehicle. I still was wondering, how in the world can that ship float with all of our cars and semi-trucks in it? So that's my question for you today. We want to figure out, how can you get a boat carrying cargo or people or passengers to float? So what you need is a piece of tin foil, and you can pick how big you want to make it. I'm going to make mine about that big, but I'm going to cut it in half. If you have scissors, you can cut it. If you don't have scissors, you can kind of tear it in half, because I left my scissors out of reach. Now, you can do this with a friend, so you have a piece for them and a piece for yourself. Now I'm going to just design a ship or a boat. I could make it any kind of shape I want. I could make a little ship. I had a friend do this with me yesterday, and she was a great ship maker. She made ships that look like boats. And if not, I don't really know how to make ships really well, so I just made a raft. And you can make it this way too. If you want to make a ship like this, I'm going to show you how. You take your tin foil, you fold it in half, and then the folded edge, I'm going to take the corner and fold it down like a triangle. I'm going to take the other corner and fold it like a triangle. Then I'm going to take the top and pull it back one time and fold it over a second time. Then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on this side. I'm going to fold it down one time and fold it down a second time. Then when I pick up my ship, I'm going to put my fingers in between and kind of tuck the ends together. And if I want to, I can kind of push on the bottom and make it kind of like that. And you can kind of play with it, put the sides together. I'm not using tape or anything. I'm just going to stick it in there and it floats. Yay! And I'm going to stick my raft in there, and my raft floats too. But now we've got to add our passengers. So think of something you have at home. You might have Legos that could be your passengers, just Lego bricks. You might have pinto beans that you could add to use your passengers. Mr. Oelze had lots of pennies, a lot of change, so I brought pennies today to be my penny passengers. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to count and see how many pennies my ship will carry before it sinks. Uh-oh, this ship took some water into it, so that's not, I'm going to have to work a little harder on my ship. But I'm going to take this little guy, and I'm going to put 1 penny there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you just keep going and see how many passengers your ship will hold. Then, think of this. Would it make a difference if I had a bigger ship? Could it hold more passengers? Try it and see. What about a raft that's more spread out? My passengers can sit on my raft. They could all be in the middle, or I could spread them around. And I want to see how many passengers can float on my ship. The water is working to kind of push up with a science principle we call buoyancy. Buoyancy is the upward push of the water on this boat. And when I teach this in school, we like to do the buoyancy boogie to help us remember what that word is, that upward push. And we're going to just see how many passengers our ship will hold. Does it make a difference how big the ship is, the volume, how much space it takes up? Does that make a difference in how much mass or weight of passengers the ship will carry? Those are things to test. Have fun, be creative, try different ships, and see which one is your best design, and go for it. Have fun.